So, in my opinion, okay, all of these murders tie back to the same problem. Yeah, Islam radicalism. So for those that don't know what TM, so obviously you know JFK, MLK, RFK. TM is Tom Maboya. Okay, he was a representative. He was. I don't think he was a politician, but he was in some role. But he came to our State Department and asked for us to pay for Kenya students to come here. But it wasn't just so they could educate them, by the way. But the State Department said, no, we're not going to pay for your students to come here. So then they decided, hey, I'm going to go to MLK, I'm going to go to JFK. All these people, but were okay with it. And so JFK wasn't even president yet. And the Kennedy Foundation paid $100,000 in a grant to bring 2 flights here. And it just so happens to be that Barack Obama's dad, was on the second flight. What do you know? Yeah. So I don't care what excuse people want to make, okay? We've spent how many years now talking about people just flooding our country and how the left just wants all these people to come in. The thing is they paid for these people to come here and go to the most Ivy League schools. I mean, not that that's saying much. They're all, radical left lunatics. And let me make clear, the radical left lunatics are as extremist as the Islamic extremists. Same thing. It is. Don't even think there's a difference there. Okay, so that's your university. So that's where they went to get groomed, because they wanted these people to go on, because some of them stayed here, but the ones that stayed here were ones that came later. The ones that were in those first 2 flights, they went on to go back to Kenya, Canada, and become in big leadership positions. So if the Kennedys or the MLKs cared so much about America's values, that $100,000 could have been used for black people here, so they could have gotten that education. But don't expect the radical left to ever give a shit about America. But because of JFK, because of this whole nightmare here, it just opened the floodgates for all this extremist crap. Because we went downhill after that. But here's something even more interesting. This is Tom Maboya here. The last person to see him alive, actually saw him murdered, was Barack Obama Sr. Yep. And it's interesting what it says. It says here that moments before his death, Maboya bumped into Obama Sr. outside the pharmacy, and they had a short conversation with Obama jokingly faulting how he had packed his car. He warned that Maboya risked a penalty from the city council for reckless parking. Maboya laughed and walked into the pharmacy, only to be shot as he walked back to his car by a man identified as Nishan Njenga. Njenga would 16 days later be charged with murder and hanged at the maximum prison. In his bio, these radical leftists, this is, for some book, the other Barack, the bold and reckless life of a President Obama's father. Please. Obama Sr. told a friend that he played a big role in the investigations on the murder. Oh, he sure did. He said he gave Nishan's name and description to the police, having witnessed the murder. Obama's father was also the last prosecution witness in Nishan's hasty trial. Nishan, who had received military training in Europe, admitted having been sent to eliminate the leader by a bigger force, probably within the government of Europe. He asked, what about the big man after his sentencing? It's interesting. That's an exact quote. Nishan said, what about the big man? So, see, when you start messing around with because this all goes back to wanting to take the West down. So I'm not saying I'm not for murder and all that, but I'm sure there were people that recognized what was going on here. Okay? So there's a reason that I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that because of all of these men murdered within, all within what, like 5 years, okay? I mean, you could say RFK was because of whatever. But ultimately, it all seems to stem to the same problem. And it was that it was the beginning of wanting to bring extremists into the country. We already had the radical extremists in the universities to groom them. And it was all part of that, Islamic jihad craziness. Barack Obama Sr. and Tom Maboya had a significant and multifaceted relationship tied to Kenya's independence and the shaping of its post-colonial elite. It was all designed. It was all designed. Unbelievable. And then what is the whole country done is put, this is why the left, okay? They never wanted to uncover the truth about Kennedy. But Kennedy wasn't because they knew it would come out. He wasn't on the right side of America. He wasn't. I don't care what excuse people want to make. When you are not even president yet and you think it's okay, you're such a big shot politician, that it's okay for you to bypass the State Department and bring in foreign students here, then, and you're running for, he was running for president at the time, and you disregard the black Americans you could help, then don't claim that you're on America's side. Was it that just Kennedy, thought he was helping out? Well, I think it's a little bit too convenient that Obama Sr. was on the second flight. And then it all goes back to the same thing. Kenya, the Khashoggis, Bin Laden, Barack, okay? Then going all the way to the Kennedys. So all of these men murdered, okay, within all of like 5 years. Now, I'm not saying it's right. Murder is never right. But this man from Europe said he was sent because maybe people said, we're not going to let you take the West down. Still the same thing that is a problem today. And yet this Khashoggi, this is why I say these radical extremists got into the CIA, got into the FBI, okay? Many of them being Americans, but not for America, which then, you could be like, there was all these failures, 9/11 happens. Well, by the time 2001 comes, yeah, of course. Kennedy helped open the flood stream to let all this radicalism in, and we already had enough of it. And I think it's a slap in Americans' face, and I don't mean this against, Kenya people that live here that are legal citizens, okay? I consider you Americans, of course. But I'm just saying, because of all this, they celebrate this. The Kennedy Library celebrates this bullshit. The radical left celebrates this bullshit. But you disregarded black Americans. And then you thought they'd be stupid enough to buy into your bullshit that it was all about solidarity, and they didn't buy into it. But they've infiltrated our media and pushed their bullshit, and ultimately, here's the thing. If you woke up to the fact that the mainstream media lies, okay, and you snapped out of that brainwashing, only to allow yourself to be brainwashed by Candace Owens, Dave Smith, Tucker Carlson, that whole fake MAGA crew, then shame on you. Because ultimately what this goes back to, no matter what political excuses people want to make, is it goes back to the fact that we support Israel. Whatever you want to say about Israel, I'm not saying they're perfect. But this was always the real enemy. And of course, this enemy would be after the West. Because it's all about being after Christians and Jews.